BTS News Today. Under the soft studio lights that reflected the aura of a world-class star, Kim Taehyung, better known as V of BTS, arrived draped in an elegance that seemed to merge art, fashion, and a quiet sense of presence. Today, Vogue Japan released an exclusive feature placing Taehyung as the star of its newest cover edition. It wasn't just a photo shoot, it was a cultural moment, a point where fashion, music, and human emotion met in a single living image. Photographers, stylists, staff, and representatives of Vogue witnessed firsthand how Taehyung's presence was more than physical. It was an atmosphere that settled over the room, causing people to unconsciously soften their breathing, as if not to disturb the harmony forming around him. Taehyung wore pieces that balanced strong masculine lines with soft artistic undertones. Neutral colors blended with the minimalistic environment, drawing attention entirely to him, to his calm eyes, to the quiet language in his expression, to the gentle yet steady posture he held. The impression was not glamour and extravagance, but glamour and serenity. Vogue Japan wasn't just showcasing an international idol. They were presenting a living artist, someone who understands that silence can be the most powerful language of all. Much has changed in Taehyung's journey. From roaring stadium crowds, to recording studios that hold songs meant to soothe, to the global fashion scene he's now shaping, Taehyung never simply followed the industry. He carved his own path. In the interview accompanying the photo shoot, Vogue asked how he views his identity as an artist. He didn't give a long, heavy answer. He only smiled and, with a quiet shrug, said he's simply trying to be himself, every day, at every stage of life. Behind the simplicity of his words lies a depth understood only by those who have watched him grow. Taehyung knows the world watches him with thousands of eyes, praising, judging, admiring. Yet he continues to move with softness, with a calm voice, with eyes that seem to embrace the world without explaining a thing. He is a story that does not end, a song that resonates long after the final note fades. That AS cameras captured his profile, his hands, the tilt of his head. The atmosphere turned warm in a way no one could manufacture. Staff from Vogue Japan described Taehyung as bringing a graceful silence into the room. There was no excessive chatter, no forced laughter, only slow breaths, gentle movement, and eyes that spoke more than any spoken line ever could. Taehyung did not try to command attention, but the room moved toward him anyway. He was not a star that burst into brilliance. He was a star that glowed quietly, and when that light touched you, it lingered. The concept of the shoot was beauty that needs no explanation. It was perfect for Taehyung. He has never tried to explain himself. He has never worked to appear perfect or mysterious. He simply is. And the world falls in love without being told to. In a world full of noise, Taehyung is a silence people long for. When early preview photos began circulating online, armies across the globe filled social media with awestruck reactions. Some said Taehyung looked like the protagonist of an art film that has yet to be made. Others said he is not just an idol, he is a living museum. Many called him art that moves, breathes, and looks back at you. None of those comments felt exaggerated. Anyone who sees the images understands instantly. Taehyung isn't posing. He is presence. One particular photograph drew the most attention. Taehyung sits in a simple wooden chair, wearing a soft almond-colored coat, with light shining gently across his jaw and eyes that appear to hold warm secrets left unspoken. No accessories, no elaborate backdrop, and that simplicity is what makes it unforgettable. It feels like a confession. The most valuable people are the ones who never try to prove anything. His eyes, the tilt of his head, the stillness of his hands. Everything invites the viewer closer. It feels as though he is speaking without speaking, inviting you not to look at him but into him. Not as a global superstar, but as Taehyung, a person with a slow, spacious heart. This Vogue feature will be remembered not as a fashion moment, but as a moment of presence. Taehyung did not appear to show himself to the world. He appeared to remind the world that true beauty does not require explanation, only feeling. He is poetry that needs no translation, a song without lyrics, a portrait that quiets the soul. And today, Vogue Japan did not simply release photos. They released a silence that touched the world. And at the center of that silence was Taehyung, asking for nothing, yet somehow making everyone understand. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere carried an even deeper story. Taehyung arrived earlier than scheduled, a rarity for global artists with overwhelming demands on their time. His steps were soft as he entered the studio, yet the certainty he carried felt strong, as if he already knew the emotional world he wanted to create before any light had been switched on. Staff later said Taehyung brought with him something indescribable, a quiet calm, like someone arriving not to perform, but to share presence. When outfit selections were presented to him, Taehyung didn't rush or make dramatic changes. He touched the fabrics, observed how light reflected off them, choosing pieces not for appearances, but for the feeling they evoked. "This one," he said softly when he reached the long minimalist coat. Just 2 words, but everyone understood. The moment was forming. Before the first shot, Taehyung stood before the mirror, not to check his appearance, but to align his inner self with the atmosphere. He closed his eyes, breathed deeply, then opened them with a gaze that was softer, fuller, more sincere. The room went silent. It felt as though art itself had begun to breathe. The camera shutters moved gently, like a quiet clock. No one directed him. Taehyung simply felt, and the camera followed. Even the smallest gestures were meaningful. When a young assistant nervously adjusted the folds of his coat, Taehyung placed a light hand on hers and said, "It's okay. You're doing well." Just like that, the assistant nearly cried. "In a world that can be harsh," she later said, "he came in like spring." The interview was quiet, reflective. When asked what he hoped people would feel from these images, Taehyung paused, not from uncertainty, but from sincerity. "I want to show something that does not need words," he said. "I want people to feel something gentle, something you can only find when you slow down." The room remained still at those words. Outside the studio, the world buzzed. Fans noticed something different in the images, not a secret in the sense of rumor, but growth in the sense of soul. A silent journey that only those who have mended themselves in silence can recognize. This Vogue session is not about clothes, not brands, not glamour. It is about presence, about the quiet depth of a person who has lived through storms and now stands in gentle light. When the shoot ended, Taehyung bowed in thanks. No applause, no dramatic closing, just warm, reverent quiet. He left the room the same way he entered, slow, calm, full of presence. After the door closed, the staff looked around and understood. They had just witnessed something unforgettable, and the world felt it.